frankly, I'm not that familiar with BOCES, but I do know we have a presence here in Salida, and one of the recommendations from the surveys was to go on a pay-as-you-go basis. Rather than have a permanent presence here, we would test kids as needed and then pay as needed in that respect. Have sports fees paid by the parents of athletes. I believe that there is currently a sports fee, and I think we're looking at actually increasing those fees as appropriate. As far as salary staff freezes, we were frozen last year. As Mr. Webb just pointed out, there's the option to freeze again in the year coming up, or to, I think we're kicking around the idea of maybe making that step and then have a percentage give back. There was a survey sent to the faculty and staff here. Would you be willing to give back something on the order of 1 to 5% of your salary? I don't know what the final results of that are, but it is something we're considering doing. Administrative salary reductions and admin pay cuts. Frankly, I wouldn't want Mrs. Thompson's job. In my opinion, she doesn't get paid enough to do the job. The appropriate span of control for any organization is you should have about 7 people report to you and no more. I think she has about 40, so that's not a place I would make a salary reduction. Gym theater rentals, yes. I know from personal experience that I've used the gym and other facilities in off-school time, and the school district, doesn't charge enough for the use of the facilities. So that's something we should certainly look at. Yeah, and we are looking at athletic funding and offsetting some of that with student and parent fees. I don't know about the art at LES. I'll leave that up to Mr. Estelle and his staff to decide on that. Furlough days. If we want to run furlough days as a money-saving decision, what that would require is that you set your school calendar and then you ask your staff to take days off. So what we're jeopardizing there are contact hours with the students. Now we are above the state average, or the state requirement, I should say. So that's a possibility, but I don't think that's something we're seriously considering at this point. We're trying to make the school district more efficient. As you can see, we've made as many cuts as we can think of in phase 1, and as this person points out, the new school will certainly make some of our utilities and other things much lower and things much more efficient. Cutting teachers to recoup salary costs. That's true, that will work, that will reduce our budget needs. But at the same time, as I said, nothing's free, so if you get rid of teachers, there's probably going to be an adverse effect on your child's education. So we can certainly do that, but it's something that we have to, there's always a cost to some decision, so we have to decide whether the benefit outweighs the cost. And I believe we're already at the point where we're cutting extra trips. We're starting to charge folks for field trips. So all of these things are being considered as cost-saving measures to ensure that we can give your children the best bang for the buck that we have available over the next year. Maybe I should hold the questions for now. Sure. Susan, can you go back? If anybody, keep going. One moment. Does anybody have any questions about these folks that we can address now, or the panel can address?
Rob, what about combining with the BV school district? Do you mean one school by that, or just one superintendent for 2 schools?
I don't know the details of that, but I think the concept is certainly at the very top you can combine the superintendent and some of the administrative staff. I don't know if we have in mind, separate schools with separate principals, or perhaps co-locating both schools at one campus. But as I said, I think that's such a long-term concept, and I'm not sure the incentive is there for BV to participate, while it might be there for us. So that's all I can say at this point. Yes?
When you talked about the 4.5 school week and the 5-day or 4-day school week, and you said that if we did 4 days, then we could shut down the school for 1 complete day. What type of costs are you looking at in saving? And you can't totally shut down a building, because you've got, in the wintertime, you've got heating costs still and everything else. What kind of things are you looking at with your going from a 5-day to a 4-day and cost savings?
Can I have Mr. Webb address that? He's been in the numbers.
Are you asking utility savings, ma'am?
Right.
We're estimating, the numbers say that we should save about $24,000. To not pad that right on, I'm estimating $15,000. I think it'll be more than that. And again, that really depends a lot with all the districts I've talked to and all the research that's been done, if it's Friday or Monday off. If it's Monday off, you're going to save a lot more money on utilities than Friday. So that's why we don't know yet. We'll have to go there. And then if that determination is made, then we'll know more. I'd also like to speak a little bit to the comment that was up here somewhere about what are you doing to cut athletics? Athletics has been cut by, what, about 5%, Jim, the last 4 years that you know of? And athletics is subsidized by the district, but out of the $110,000 that we subsidize athletics, last year alone they spent, was about $270,000. So every time we cut athletics, and they have to do more fundraisers, or they have to have more meetings, or they have to raise fees somewhere. So athletics has been cut just along with everything else. It's just that they have to raise the money then to help support themselves.
Why is it that if you don't have school on a Monday versus Friday, that you'll save more money by closing on Monday?
Typically what happens on a Friday is you have a lot more activities going on, so you have a lot more people in and out of the buildings. On Mondays, there's very few things that are going on at all, and so pretty much school is closed on Mondays. Nobody comes in except, absolute people, and the only activities you typically have on Mondays are JP football games.
I don't want that. Thank you.
Sounds good.
I have a friend who couldn't come today. She has a concussion. And she asked me to say, could we have 1 week, 5 days, and the next week, 4 days? That was her question.
You could definitely do that. I know of one district that tried that. I'm not sure how long they did it. Some people say that's really confusing, and then there's no consistency. So there's a lot of options out there, yes.
It seems to me that you have considered cuts in most of the areas of the budget, except the largest line item expense, which is your teacher's salaries. When a business has to make a budget cut or cut back on its business, it always looks at its salaries first. And it seems to me that the school district, before it considers either a 4-day or a 5-day week, has to look at where they can cut back in salaries. And it seems to me that you have 2 options available to you. You can either cut teachers in order to cut back on the non-paying salaries, or ask the teachers, administration, and staff to agree to an across-the-board cut, temporary, until you can make your expenses. I would like to see the board consider this